It's literally 3 a.m. right now, and I just finished editing this for you guys. I'm exhausted, but I didn't want to miss a post. If you're here, subscribe. It means a lot. My fiancée told me, cancel the honeymoon. My ex needs me that week for emotional support. I replied, say that again, slowly. She didn't hesitate. She stood there in the middle of our kitchen, calm, composed, like she was asking me to reschedule a dinner reservation, not dismantle the first week of our marriage. He's going through a rough time, Ethan. Her voice was steady, too steady, and he doesn't have anyone else. I stared at her, trying to understand if I had missed something. If this was a joke. If maybe I was the one being unreasonable. Your ex, I repeated, slower now, testing the weight of the words. Yes, and you want to cancel our honeymoon. For 1 week. She corrected me like it was a minor detail. Just 1 week. I let out a quiet laugh. Not because it was funny, because something inside me didn't know how else to react. Claire, I said, we've been planning this for a year. I know. Flights are booked. I know. Resort paid for. I know. And you're asking me to cancel it because your ex is sad. She inhaled slowly, like she had rehearsed this. He's not just sad, Ethan. Then what is he? She hesitated. That was the first crack. He's not okay. Silence stretched between us. The kind of silence that starts to feel like a decision. Let me ask you something. If you were standing where I was, would you think she was being compassionate or crossing a line she should never cross? Because in that moment, I didn't know which one it was. I just knew it didn't feel right. I need you to be honest with me, I said. I am. No. I shook my head, not the surface version. Her eyes flickered. I need the truth behind this. She looked away first. That told me everything I needed to know and nothing at the same time. We were together for 4 years, she said quietly. I know. You don't just erase that. I swallowed that sentence slowly. You're not supposed to erase it, I said. But you're supposed to move on from it. I have moved on. Have you? The question hung heavier than I expected. Because suddenly, I wasn't just asking her. I was asking myself. Was I about to marry someone who still felt responsible for another man? Or worse, still emotionally attached to him? He reached out to me, she continued. And he said he's struggling. With what? She paused again. He didn't say. I blinked. So you don't even know what's wrong. He sounded broken, Ethan. And that's enough for you to cancel our honeymoon? It's just 1 week. There was again. That phrase. Like she was shrinking something that felt massive to me. I walked to the window, needing space, needing air. Because something inside me was starting to shift. Not anger. Not yet. Something quieter. Something colder. Claire, I said without turning around, what happens after that week? What do you mean? He gets better and disappears again? I don't know. Or he keeps needing you? She didn't answer. And what happens to us then? Silence. That silence was louder than anything she could have said. Because it meant she hadn't thought that far. Or worse, she had, and she didn't want to say it out loud. I turned back to her. Do you still love him? Her head snapped up. No. Too fast. Too defensive. I don't, she insisted. Then why does he still have this kind of access to you? She looked hurt now. I'm not a bad person for caring about someone who's struggling. I didn't say you were. But that's what you're implying. No, I said calmly. I'm saying you're about to start a marriage while prioritizing someone else. That landed. I saw it in her face. The realization. The discomfort. But it didn't last long. Because she straightened again. I'm not choosing him over you. It feels like you are. It's 1 week. And it's our honeymoon. Another silence. This one's sharper. More fragile. Let me ask you something again. If someone asks you to delay the beginning of your life together for the sake of their past, what does that really mean? Because in that moment, I started to see something I hadn't noticed before. This wasn't just about 1 week. This was about boundaries, and whether I even had one in her life. Where would you be staying? I asked. With him. That hit harder than everything else. With him. He doesn't have anyone else. I laughed again. This time, there was no confusion in it. Just disbelief. So let me get this straight. You want me to stay here, while you go live with your ex, right after we get married? She flinched slightly. When you say it like that, that's exactly how it sounds. I wouldn't be living with him. What would you call it? Supporting him. In his home. Yes. For a week. Yes. I nodded slowly, because now everything was clear. Painfully clear. You've already decided, I said quietly. No, I haven't. Yes, you have. Her expression shifted from defensive to uncertain. I wanted to talk to you about it. No, I shook my head. You wanted me to agree with it. That's not fair. It is. Because if she had truly been asking, she would have been ready for a no. And she wasn't. She was expecting a yes. Or at least compliance. Ethan, she said softly, he needs me. I looked at her. Really looked at her this time. And for the first time, I didn't see my future wife. I saw someone who still felt tethered to her past. And that's when it hit me. The realization I hadn't been ready to face. What if he always needs you? She didn't answer. What if this doesn't end after a week? Still nothing. What if I'm the one you keep asking to wait? Her eyes filled with something I couldn't quite name. Guilt. Fear. Maybe both. I'm not asking you to wait forever. Just long enough for you to figure out where your priorities really are. That was the midpoint. The moment everything shifted. Because suddenly, I wasn't reacting anymore. I was deciding. And that scared her. I love you, she said quickly. I know. Then trust me. I do trust you. I replied. But I don't trust this situation. She stepped closer. This doesn't change anything between us. It already has. Her face fell slightly. And for the first time, she looked unsure. Not about me. About her choice. Are you really going to make this an issue? I took a deep breath. No. That surprised her. I'm not going to make it an issue. Relief flickered in her eyes. Until I finished the sentence. I'm going to make it a decision. She froze. What does that mean? It means if you go... I paused, letting it settle. Don't come back expecting things to be the same. Her lips parted slightly. You're giving me an ultimatum? No, I'm giving myself a boundary. That hit differently. Because it wasn't about controlling her. It was about protecting myself. You would really walk away over this? I looked at her one last time. Not with anger. Not with resentment. Just clarity. I would walk away from anything that starts our marriage like this. Silence filled the room again. But this time, it felt final. She didn't argue. She didn't try to convince me again. Because deep down, she understood. This wasn't about her ex anymore. This was about us. And whether we were ready for something real. The next morning, she packed a small bag. She didn't say much. Neither did I. Because sometimes, words don't fix things. They just delay the truth. She paused at the door. I'll be back in a week. I nodded. But I didn't say anything. Because we both knew. That week wasn't the real timeline. The real timeline had already ended. Right there. In that kitchen. And when the door closed behind her, it didn't feel like a temporary goodbye. It felt like clarity finally arrived. What's your personal reflection? Would you have given her that 1 week, or walked away the moment she asked?